These are some of the most disturbing things that have happened to people camping out of a van. And as the video goes on, they only get harder to explain. It's the start of 2026. An overlanding YouTuber Overland Nomad, real name David, drives his 94 Toyota pickup onto the sand at Access 6 on South Padre Island. He's got his dog Piper and a homemade pop-top camper, and the plan is one quiet night on the beach.
What is up, guys? David here from Overland Nomad. Today we are going to be camping on the beach. I got my 94 Toyota pickup. I'm going to be camping in my DIY pop-top camper. We got Piper with us, and we already have our first obstacle, which is right in the entrance to the beach. You got to throw four-wheel drive on.
The sand here is soft enough that you lock into four-wheel drive at the entrance. Once you're on it, the only way anybody reaches you is by driving the beach.
Should be good. Kind of protected a little bit from the sand. Piper's been anxious to get out. You ready, Pipes? Come on.
It's meant to be an easy start to his season. He works south through the dunes until he finds a spot with a bank behind it, sets up the camper and starts cooking. As the light goes, he takes stock of how empty the beach is.
One of my favorite places to camp. Maybe, no, I'm not gonna say the most because the sand is annoying, but you get rewarded with this beautiful view of the ocean or the Gulf and the waves. And on top of that, I get the whole beach to myself. There's been only a few fishermen that have traveled south.
He isn't quite alone. In the middle of that same sentence, he mentions one small thing.
And I do know that there's one car out there. I can see its lights, but I mean, I have the whole entire beach to myself. It doesn't get any...
A single vehicle, parked far up the beach at a spot called the East Cut. David thinks nothing more of it and goes back to his cooking. The camera runs while he cooks. Then it stops. When it comes back on, about a minute has gone by and David is standing in the same place with the pan still going.
Piper, you scared me, dude. I kid you not, I was cooking and I was just having to stare through the window and I see a light like coming up, like someone walking. And I freaked me out. I got my protection and I grabbed Piper because Piper will attack.
None of that minute was filmed. By his account, he was at the stove when he saw a light moving toward the camper, grabbed what he calls his protection and took hold of Piper because Piper will attack. Outside was a woman. She said a car was stuck up at the East Cut and asked him to walk up there with her.
But look, I would love to help, but I'm by myself. There's no one out here. And I don't know if it's a trap.
He doesn't turn her down flat. Before she goes, he offers her something.
So, I offered to call, I have signal. She said she didn't. I said, well, I can call, you can use my phone, but yeah, that's sketchy.
She turned the phone down. She had one of her own, she said, and it had no signal. There are no patrols on Access 6, no lights and no neighbors, and he's 90 minutes from home. He can still see the car up the beach, its lights coming in and out.
I'm out here by myself. There's no patrolling law enforcement out here. You're on your own, like the Wild West. Last thing I want to happen is get jumped or robbed or something. I mean, I can see the car light up there, like it comes in and out, but I don't know. I don't want to be in an ambush.
Nerved, he breaks the whole camp down with his dinner half cooked.
All right, guys, this is probably the creepiest camping situation I've ever had, to be honest with you. So I packed up everything.
Once he's off the beach, he rings the county to report the stuck car in case somebody genuinely is out there.
Right. And I did call, I called 911. I called the county just to report it. And they said they couldn't do much. They're like, we can't send anyone out there to rescue her.
Nobody is coming. Later, parked up with a bag of fries, David explains why Access 6 in particular had him uneasy.
Spooky like that. The only spooky thing I know are other humans. And they could be nefarious. They could be doing nefarious things out here. I mean, it's happened before here at the Access 6 where they dump bodies, they traffic things across the cut. It happens. There's illegal activity that happens out here for sure.
That's his own read on a beach he films regularly. Then he lands on the part of her story that had been bothering him since he left.
So at the East Cut, you get pretty good reception because Port Mansfield is just like a few miles to the west, inland. So we get the reception over there. Well, like right in this part.
By David's reckoning, the East Cut picks up signal off Port Mansfield, a few miles inland, and the middle of the beach gets none. If he's right, she told him she had a phone with no signal while standing in the one place on that beach where that would be true, about a place where it wouldn't. There's one more thing he keeps returning to.
What do you think, Pipes? Piper didn't even bark. Dude, you didn't even bark. You barked when I, like, jumped out of the truck. You should have had my back on that one. Piper starts barking once
Piper barked at David climbing out of his own truck. She never made a sound at the woman. When the video went up, the comments section went almost entirely to the dog, the top reply telling him the dog always knows. The ones who looked harder went at the woman's story instead. Several pointed out that anybody genuinely stranded takes the offered phone, and that a partner does the walking rather than sending someone alone into a stranger's camp at night. One viewer claimed he'd been asked for a tow at dusk in a similar spot, put a drone up rather than driving over, and counted 4 men waiting where the stuck vehicle was supposed to be. Nobody knows who the woman was, whether there was ever a car stuck at the East Cut, or what would have happened if he'd agreed to go with her. The next man got a much clearer look at who was outside his van. Brendan explores, builds campers out of old vehicles and sleeps in them for a living. For this one, he takes a self-converted ambulance back to the Shropshire Hills, where the channel started, on a night cold enough to be a problem. He's filmed hundreds of these camps. This is the one he almost didn't post.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the left of us is the lovely sprawling hills of Shropshire, but we're not seeing that. Onwards and upwards.
The walk he drove out for is gone. Every viewpoint on the ridge is solid white, so he drops down to a woodland car park at Berry Ditches instead.
Huh. Interesting.
Then the diesel heater won't start. It's heading for 4 degrees, and pulling the fuse from under the driver's seat and putting it back changes nothing. So he cooks fajitas, partly for the heat off the pan, and gets into bed in 3 layers.
White Park, right next to me. I heard what sounded like teenagers laughing and giggling before.
A car pulls in and parks right alongside him, playing music for about 10 minutes.
Thank God for that. They've gone. Oh, that was just going to turn an already bad night into an even worse night. The only thing that's been good tonight is the dinner.
Relieved, he settles down for the night.
Just had someone pull up outside the van. What the f*** was that? Where's the light? Right, I think they've just driven off. Where the hell are my keys? Right, flipping midnight.
He can see nothing from inside. He's hunting for a torch and his keys at the same time. And then he does the thing his comments section would spend weeks telling him not to have done. He opens the door and goes out to look.
Oh my God. Have they done anything else? Just pelted eggs at the side of the van.
Egg down the side of the ambulance and into the sliding door rail. Nothing broken, nothing stolen, nobody in sight. He's alone in that car park, and he's already spent the evening complaining on camera that there's no signal up here.
I'm gonna leave this spot. I'm not staying here tonight. I knew when they first turned up and parked right outside the van here, playing loud music.
He doesn't wait to find out whether there's a third visit. He drives home rather than look for another spot, and he's in his own bed by 1.
I heard somebody say my name, Brendan, on the second time that they came back, So to leave, to go away for hours and then come back with eggs and egg the van, I don't get it.
Brendan posts under his own name and had already said on camera which car park he was in, so there are ordinary ways somebody local could work out whose van that was. What that doesn't explain is the gap. He's fairly sure it was the same car both times, which would mean they turned up, left, stayed away for hours, and came back with eggs. He opens the finished video apologizing and asking people not to let it put them off camping. Then he ends it asking whether anyone knows anything about diesel heater fuses, because he still hasn't fixed his. Nobody outside Brendan's van said a word to him except his own name. Outside the next one, the man wouldn't stop talking. May 2024, the YouTube channel Life is Too Short filmed a night in an overflow car park outside Peebles, in the Scottish borders. Carol and Ken travel in a motorhome they call Snoopy, and this was the end of a long day. There's a no overnight parking sign at the entrance with no penalty listed on it, and other vehicles already in there, so they take it and plan to leave at first light.
As usual, I'm placing out the cameras, one looking towards the front and this one looking towards the side of the door.
Ken is ex-police, and before bed he puts 2 cameras out. While he's outside doing it, he films a couple of establishing shots of where they've parked.
For the night. You can see the location of both cameras. As I looked to my left here, I saw another dog walker coming towards us, but he was a long way off, so I paid no real attention to him.
Then they go to bed. Around 10 o'clock, something happens against the window they're sleeping against.
Now that may not sound very loud, but when you've got your ear right next to the window where he's knocking, it sounded very loud indeed.
Neither of them says a word. Ken asks Carol for the phone so he can pull the camera feed up and see who's out there and whether the man is on his own.
I know you're in there, I just saw you 2 seconds ago. Are you going to come out?
This guy thinks he can tell me what to do.
Ken spent his career in CID in Brighton working serious assaults, and his read is that nothing here is a threat while the door stays shut.
In my time in CID down in Brighton, I dealt with a lot of serious assaults, and they all start like this. And
Inside, the man builds his case. People have been parking overnight and leaving a mess, and the council has told him to report anyone who does it.
news.
There's a big sign up there saying no overnight parking. People have been parking here, urinating and leaving feces about here.
I'm sure he's
Giving you the chance to move on. If you don't want to move on, then I'll just phone the police and the police will come through and they'll move you on whenever they get here. But it'll probably be later on, so it'll be a bit of a pain. So I would move on now.
Nobody comes. The man gives up and they sleep there until dawn. When the video finally went up more than a year later, Ken added his own argument that a bare no overnight parking sign on a Scottish public road usually has nothing legally behind it. But there's something on the tape that neither of them mentions. Ken had already filmed a man walking towards the van and paid no attention to him.
As I looked to my left here, I saw another dog walker coming towards us, but he was a long way off, so I paid no real attention to him.
That's about 90 seconds before the knock. He never says whether it was the same man. Creepy Travels is a small channel run by a man who drives out alone, after dark, to public hunting land the locals call Witch's Woods. It's an hour and a half from his house, and he sleeps in a Ford Bronco. He's been out here before, and things have been thrown at him.
What in the world? They're gone. That's even a little bit more freaky, people. Knowing they're gone.
The first thing he does is drive past his own campsite and down to the creek, because bundles of sticks had been hanging in the branches over the water, tied with grass rope. Most are down. One is still up.
You know what? I'm not even going to hang them back up. I'm going to take that one back down. Because if I hang it,
he takes it down himself rather than leave it hanging. Then there's the state of the vehicle he's sleeping in tonight.
asking around everybody, nobody knows of a Bronco door. I need a Bronco door. Well, shut my
Deer hit him the weekend before and took out his steering column and the driver's window. He can't source a replacement door, so the truck he's parked in is open on one side. An hour in, something happens close enough to stop him mid-sentence.
What in the world? That dog is close. I'm talking about 60 yards. And that was a deep, throaty bark. Big dog. What in the world?
A dog would mean a house or somebody walking one, so he checks the track in.
Mine's the only tracks right there. So nobody's out here.
His are the only tire tracks on it. The bark came once and never repeated, and he notices what stopped alongside it. No birds, no frogs, no insects.
I'm wondering if that was really a dog.
Easy, he sleeps sitting up in the driver's seat rather than the back, so the engine is under his hand.
The broken window. I'm not sleeping in the back. I'm sleeping in the seat. Just in case something happens, I can crank it up and go. I could have swore I heard somebody.
The rest of that night comes off the back half of the upload. He's woken again and again by noises around the truck, then by heavy footsteps and branches at the edge of the clearing, and starts packing around 36 minutes in.
I just heard a branch break back there. What's going on? I was about to leave. And something ran back there.
He's loading the Bronco when that goes past him. Then, beside where he'd been parked all night, he finds something he has to deal with before he can leave.
That one's been burning. But these don't look like they have been. What the hell?
Burning. He gathers them up so they won't start a fire in the leaf litter, and drives home. 3 months later, he goes back. The first thing that bothers him isn't a noise.
Just started. They're everywhere. So why was the woods so quiet? Since I've been here, everything has been quiet. No animals, no bugs.
There are no frogs near his camp. Further down the same trail, they're deafening, and his read is that something walked through and shut them up.
There's some strange stuff going on out here. They keep calling the cops. Rangers come out here. Nothing's ever found.
Rangers have cameras out here. People call the police about this stretch, and nothing is ever found. It's hunting land and he holds no permit, so he's left anything that could be mistaken for a rifle at home.
See, I'm out here on hunting land and I do not have a hunting permit, so I do not bring any protection. Do not want to be caught.
Then he walks back down to the creek. He gets about 10 feet along it before he stops.
And that's not grass rope. That's something black tying it together. That's a new one. No, that's strips of duct tape. Yeah, look, there's the old one right there.
The old bundles are still lying where they fell, grass rope and all, including the one he pulled out of the tree himself last time. Hanging directly above them are new ones, freshly made, bound with black duct tape. He counts 4.
I swore I just heard somebody scream.
The creak is loud enough that he talks himself out of it twice.
Tell me my phone picked that up. Somebody just screamed. That was not a dog, that was a scream. I do not want to cut my camera off to go back to see what it was. But I want to so bad.
He puts it at 50 or 60 yards. He stays anyway, sleeping in the back with the tailgate open, and wakes again about 15 minutes later.
I heard something screaming and hollering again. I've been out here walking up and down. I don't know what it was. Scared that. I swore I just saw somebody run across that road.
He shut the tailgate after that and stayed until morning. He asked his viewers what the bundles were and got back Wiccan markers, pagan runes, and one man telling him he was imagining the lot of it. He never found out who was replacing them. An hour and a half from home, no reception, nobody to call. The next camper drove further out than that on purpose. Travel with Tats is a solo traveler living out of a van in British Columbia. She wakes at 7:30 in a Squamish car park full of other vans, where staff knock on windows at 8 to move everybody on, which she's had enough of. She gets fuel, gets coffee, and heads for a spot she remembers from a previous trip but never pinned, up a logging road into the mountains.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I don't get stuck in the process, you know? But it's all part of the adventure. Here we go. Okay. So I think I went down the right gravel road to begin with. I bypassed it. I'm like, I think that was the one. So then I had to do this big loop, but now I'm back on it and I'm following it. I don't remember anything about this road, but it's starting to get familiar because now we're starting to like go up, and that's what I needed. Worst case scenario, I turn around, right? But the road has been really fine so far. I didn't pin anything down back there, so I know I'm also gonna go back there soon and find it.
Fog comes down as she climbs, and the surface gets worse under her. Then her phone fills up and stops recording at the exact moment the road pitches up, so the next thing on camera is her at the bottom of it.
And my fan basically starts spinning out at the top of this hill, and I lose all power, and I basically have to then reverse down this sketchy ass hill I don't have a backup camera, and oh my God, I'm just shaking right now because now I have to like do a bajillion point turn to get out of this, and I'm really glad that I made it down to the bottom of the hill, backed all the way down, but like I'm still a little shaky because there was moments there, even when I was backing down, that I was losing traction. And I thought I was gonna have to pull the e-brake at some points, but I luckily didn't have to. So,
near the top, she lost traction on loose gravel, then lost drive altogether, and the van started rolling backwards down the slope. No reversing camera, fog she couldn't see through, and a drop on one side.
I did it. Freaking did it. Oh, I'm so shaky. Look at the mess I made. I did that. I hit my bumper only once. It looks like it's actually in okay shape, which is fine. Yeah, it's probably where I got it. But that's what it's for, right? I don't know what I would have done if it went over the edge. I don't know what I would have done if it tipped in the side. I don't know what I would have done if I rolled. I am so scared that I think I just need to drive.
She backed it the whole way down, losing grip more than once, then turned it around in sections on a track barely wider than the van.
You know, at the point where you're probably, or there's a chance you could roll right off a cliff, is terrifying. And I'm probably gonna have to now take my van in because I smell burning. And I wonder if that's my brakes. Whoa.
She drove up there to get away from a car park where staff knock on the windows at 8 in the morning. What gets her out of bed at 3:30 is working out that she is the only vehicle on a wet logging road and that nobody is coming up it. She leaves without ever seeing the view she drove there for. It's Easter week in southern Spain, and Shane and Ain are driving a van they called a BBB from Zafra down towards Seville. They'd already had one bad night on this trip, where something kept hitting the roof and both of them were certain somebody was trying to get in.
Last night, this tree kept us up so much because it was hitting off the van, and at one point we thought someone was breaking into the van, but it was just a tree. It just plays with your mind, doesn't it? You hear any little noise outside and you're like, oh, what is it? And it's just a tree.
It was a tree. They park on a hillside in the suburbs outside Seville rather than in the city, partly for the low emission zone and partly because of break-ins at the city park-ups. The problem is signal.
We have no Wi-Fi whatsoever. We're out here, it's 9 o'clock, we're trying to walk around, see can we get coverage. We finally found coverage right here in the middle of this abandoned football field. So we're going to have to go get the big blue, move over here, just so we can get the video uploaded.
At 9 at night, they're still walking around trying to find enough of it to upload a video, and the only place with any is beside an abandoned football pitch. So they move the van over there and start the upload.
Thought it was like a dog or something, I didn't know what he was doing. And then he pulled up beside us and he's like, Darian.
No, but I thought he was saying damn it, which means give me.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, he wants money.
No, because he had his phone and he was like Uber Eats or something.
A motorbike comes down and starts flashing its lights at them. The rider pulls alongside, holds up his phone and keeps saying a name at them. They decide he's a delivery driver at the wrong van and go to bed with the skylight open.
That was weird. So there is the creepy guy with food.
So guys, it's 1:30 in the morning. We had our skylight opened and we could hear footsteps walking outside. We are like so far from like the little town, so we don't know why there would be somebody walking around here. A few cars are driving up and down, and I think also after that bike flashed us and everything.
Gravel at 1:30 in the morning, in a place with nothing around it. They've been caught out by a tree once already on this trip.
I didn't hear that much.
I did.
Because I just sleep anywhere. But now it's in my head.
Let's go.
So let's go. This is like one of the first times we...
No, it is the first time.
Is it the first time? Yeah. Yeah, it is the first time that we have to move.
People say like when you have a gut feeling.
This isn't a tree. Whoever it is walks the length of the van and back, more than once. Shane drives out in his pajamas to the camper area they'd left earlier, 5 minutes away, where there are 10 other vans and cameras on the site. Their comments section came back with explanations and no agreement between them. One viewer had it as the delivery rider, still going up and down looking for the right van. Another pointed at the trees they'd parked under, which is exactly what caught them out before. Neither can be tested, because they drove off before finding out. Their answer to somebody walking around the van was to put it in gear. The next man heard the same thing and went back to sleep. Dan's van life is 2 days back on the road after 6 months off recovering from shoulder surgery, most of which he spent rebuilding the van. He's driving from Iowa towards Colorado with his dog Cassie, and it's tick season. Before any of the rest of it, there's one small thing at a Walmart garage in Iowa, where he's left the van for an oil change.
I took Cassie to go to the doggy mall, and we walked around Petco, and I also got myself some Mexican food for the road. Just got the van back after getting the oil changed, went and got a bite to eat for me, and we went to the Petco, got her a doggy treat while we were there. I did find one drawer unlocked that I left locked in the van, and there was some boot prints in the back of the van, like the guys were messing around inside the van. Kind of weird. There's no reason to come back in the living space for any reason at all doing an oil change. I don't see anything missing, and I don't care. They're probably just checking it out. I do have the dash cam plugged in. It looks like maybe it was recording the whole time, so hopefully I can get that footage and put it in right now. There might be some really funny responses about the racing sim being in the passenger seat.
A drawer he'd locked is open and there are boot prints in the living space. Nothing is missing, so he lets it go. He doesn't make Colorado either and pulls into a spot he found on iOverlander just off the highway in Nebraska, next to a pond.
And it was like 7 p.m. and she had been getting pretty antsy about getting supper fed. So it seemed like it was going to be a good idea to stop for the night and take a rest. Stay. Cassie, stay. Come here. Let's turn the lights on it. All right, go potty. I swear I just saw a set of eyes over there. I swear I just saw a reflection. Oh man. We're not gonna get spooked. We're not gonna get spooked.
He talks himself out of that one and stays a second night rather than push on. He live streams for a few hours, walks Cassie by the water, and comes back to cook.
In the van all day, I was just feeling like it would be a good idea to take a buffer day since we had a good parking spot with a nice walking trail around it. Bathrooms weren't too far away. Made sense just to park for one day and hang out in this awesome spot in Nebraska, right? I was behind on live streaming, so I put in a good few hours playing the racing simulator on live, and then we just had a really chill evening walking around by the lake, hanging out down at the beach, and then we came back to make some supper. And when I got back to make supper, I found a tick on me. And when I looked closer, I found another tick on me, and another, and I pulled about 5 off of me before it hit me. How many are on Cassie? So as I was looking Cassie over for more ticks, I realized that the french fries were still in the oven and I absolutely fried them. So it was just really seeming like one of those days. So Cassie gets a waterless bath, just spraying her over with the anti-tick and flea spray that I have, and then I get a nice sink shower. And for some reason I didn't use my brand new water heater. It was just all a little too much to take in, so I took a cold shower, and that really was a nice humbling moment.
He pulls 5 off himself before he thinks about the dog. The chips burn while he's checking her over. He sprays her down and takes a cold shower in the sink, then gets into a bed he already knows has ticks in it. He's just going under when something moves behind the van.
What's going on, bud? So I just woke up to the noise of something rooting around outside the van. I don't know if it was somebody fucking with the back door handle or if it was just somebody bumping against the van. But we are parked somewhere that there should be no one near the van. And then I heard a loud belch. I got up and grabbed my safety device, and I haven't heard anything since.
There's nobody parked within sight of him, and that came from a few feet behind the van.
In the middle of nowhere. And by this point in the day, I'm just irritated that my night's sleep is now going to be completely ruined, not only by the bed bugs and ticks, but by some Jimmy trying to break into the van.
He's parked with the pond on one side and the highway embankment on the other, and the door being pulled on is the back one, the one he sleeps against. He gets up and gets what he calls his safety device, and then he does the thing nobody in his comments section would have done.
Normal person probably would have got up and drove to a new parking spot at that time, but I just truly had not one fuck left to give, so we tried to go back to sleep.
He goes back to sleep. He never gets up to look outside. There's nothing in the rest of the video about who was out there, and nobody knows who was working that handle or what they wanted. More ticks on Cassie in the morning, then a vet bill he wasn't planning on, and a few days later she'd be back in for 2 nights. At the end of the video, he asked anyone who'd watched the whole thing to comment the word dog, and hundreds did. Dan had parked a few hundred yards off an interstate, close enough that a passing car was never going to be strange. The last 2 went the opposite way and kept driving until the road ran out. It's February, and Brian and Marisa are driving logging roads through the Willapa Hills on the Washington coast, looking for somewhere to start a new camping series. Most of those roads end at a locked gate. This one doesn't. It runs all the way down to a lake with nobody else on it.
Who knows?
All right.
It's squatchy here. Jeez.
It is.
All alone too. Freaking awesome. All right, let's go.
Yep, let's go.
Here's another lake. A little bit smaller than the other one. Not bad. I like this one.
It's not bad. It's pretty, but there's nowhere to camp. Like, they're all walk-in sites, I think.
Yeah.
They film otters working the far bank. They cook, and something turns up at the site while they're eating.
It is getting dark.
Indestructible.
But
I want my battery to work. I have one warm foot.
Welcome to February.
I'm hungry.
But oh. But got the kid on TV. So we had some like random cat show up, like kitty cat.
A cat at a lake with nothing else around it. It stares at the pair of them and goes. They stay up late watching a film and have only just switched it off.
So, it's, what, 12:30?
Yeah.
And, what just happened?
A car came like barreling in here.
He went flying in.
midnight, a vehicle comes down the track fast.
And they were doing something here.
And our GoPro was over here.
Yeah.
It drives over the camp light they'd set out. And this is the part that matters about where they'd parked. The track ends at the water, so there's nowhere for that vehicle to be going except their sight, and no way out for it without turning around in front of them.
He's gonna get out and start
I really, honestly, like, my first thought was, like, we were gonna get robbed. Like, that was my ultimate first thought. And, like, luckily we, were still awake because we had ended up going to bed like super late. Yeah. And so we were watching a movie. We just turned the movie off. Just turned the movie off and hear this car come barreling in and we're like, what the heck?
Brian's read is that they're being robbed, so he does the loudest thing available to him.
So I was making myself very known, like hello, and got our tent unzipped, had the flashlight out. We had our gun next to us. So it was
our blow horn thing.
Yeah, it was just like super scary. And when
I need to slow down.
When they left, I walked out and saw that other car and I was like, no. And now when we left, it wasn't there, which was so weird because like...
I didn't see it. I mean, it could be in the dark. I don't know. I didn't see any reflections of nothing back where it would have been.
Tent unzipped, torch on, firearm and an air horn beside the bed. The men get back into their vehicle and start it. Then Brian hears something that doesn't fit the count.
And then I heard another door, like as they were getting in theirs.
Two doors at two different distances. Once they've gone, he walks down the track to find out what the second one was.
I walked down to the end of the road and there's a car just sitting there. So I don't know how long it's been there for. So
I don't know.
So
are we packing up?
Yes, I don't feel safe here. So
another car parked at the end of the road in the dark, with no way of telling how long it had been there.
Morning. So holy moly.
I have like so much adrenaline coursing through me right now.
Wow.
Alright guys, we are packing up in the dark. It's about midnight. Yeah, if you're ever in a situation where you don't feel safe, just leave. It is way better to leave and feel safe than to have something happen and you could have done something about it. So
they break the site down in about 20 minutes, which they can only do because most of it was already packed for an early start, and drive an hour and a half home.
Camping, never had something like that. That's Western Lake.
Never felt that way.
Never felt this like uneasy about.
#gift.
Yeah.
That's why we love you, baby.
Is that why there was nothing up earlier today? Oh, yeah. That was just like to have somebody come barreling into your camp spot.
Somewhere on that road, one of them says the thing that had been true since the afternoon without either of them noticing it. Then Marisa gives the whole night an ordinary explanation, and it's probably the right one.
Yeah. And we have...
What'd they do?
It looked like they were, like they had the hood of their car open and they were like getting water out of the lake and putting it in their car, I think.
A radiator?
Yeah, oh potentially.
My God.
So
and their car sounded like it was going up the hill.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if they were there for like, you know, to go like night fishing or something like that. I don't know, but just having that other car down there after they had left.
The men had their bonnet up. Somebody's radiator was empty and the nearest water was a lake.
Wasn't there, which was so weird because like
I didn't see it. I mean, it could be in the dark. I don't know. I didn't see any reflections of nothing back where it would have been. Where
Yeah.
you said it was.
So it's just really, it's weird. The whole situation is weird, and yeah, we just didn't feel comfortable to stay, and so we made that call, and that's okay.
The second car was gone by the time they drove out. Afterwards, a commenter who knows that area told them what they'd actually been parked on. It's Snag Lake, above the town of Nacelle, and the spot at the end of that track isn't a campsite. It's the boat launch, which explains the shape of the whole night. The road ran out where it did for a reason, and anyone driving down it had to come the full length of it, right into them, before there was anywhere to turn. Another commenter went back and listened with the volume up, and heard the men laughing, and one of them saying sorry. So it was most likely a radiator and two people who didn't expect anybody at the lake in February. That still leaves the car at the end of the road and where it went.